Alrighty. So it is, believe it or not, September the 7th. I have no idea where this month is going already. And I figured because I had some extra time and Tiffany and me were talking earlier today that we would just hop on and see what new consultants wanted to join us. I'm going to try to make this a pretty common occurrence. Every couple of weeks, I'm going to try to do this to give you guys a place to go, to kind of ask questions and, get help when you need it. Of course, you guys know, in the meantime, you can, of course, reach out to any of us at any time, except for like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I'm sleeping, but most of the time I'm not. So anyway, so I wanted to kind of start this off a little bit differently because I do want to do a little bit of training. I know that I want this to be a resource for you guys to just kind of come and ask questions, but I have a question for you guys because you guys are all new consultants and I am in the process of really trying to put together a lot more resources for you guys to have, to be able to use, some new programs for you guys, some new training and things like that. And so I want to know for you guys as new consultants, what in your first 90 days do you think would be beneficial to you that you don't already get from me or whoever your upline is and Pampered Chef? Is there things that we're missing the boat on? Is there a resource you wish you had? So I just want to kind of open it up to a little bit of conversation that way.
I have one.
Yay, I love it. Trainings that you feel you need that you're not getting. That's really what I'm looking for. All that kind of stuff.
Like how to book new parties with people you don't know.
Oh, okay. So bookings outside of your circle.
Yes. Like how do you just approach somebody and be like, hey, I mean, I can do it, but I think
it doesn't involve taking clothes off? I'm just joking. Just joking. Look at Brooke's like,
run the other direction.
I'm totally teasing you guys.
This is one of those cheeky training meetings again, isn't it?
Right?
And I'm recording, which is even scarier. So if you're just watching this, I'm just adding a little humor. Okay, I've had 5 cups of coffee today, and I'm probably not going to sleep tonight.
You're buzzing.
Just okay. So we got bookings outside of your circle. What else? What are other things that you guys feel like you need?
One thing that would be helpful, because I'm still trying to rearrange the orders that I do have, is like, how do you make the most, like if you're doing a party if you're taking orders and turning a party in for you,
okay,
like how you get the most stuff to do your shows. If that makes sense.
No, the most what for your shows?
Like how to get the most product to do your shows. You know what I mean? Like if because I took a bunch of orders and I was going to put it in under my boyfriend because Sarah told me to do that.
Right.
So, but you know what I mean? Like how do you know? Because I was kind of playing around with it, like, because I have an order in there as well. And
right. So how to get the most rewards.
Yes, because like I went to Pots and Pans. I wanted them. That's part of the reason why I started. So like if I put them in the party, how do I want to say it?
I get what you're saying. So you're basically trying to figure out how to get the biggest bang for your buck, pretty much.
Exactly.
Okay. So that
or really anything along that line would help, like you guys told me about the cooker and I was on it like white on rice.
I love it.
So I had like a $400 order for just stuff that I could get, you know what I mean, at our price.
Right. So I guess there's a couple different ways you can approach it, because I would look first through the samples and see what from there you're trying to find, the new products that are half price. Anything else, I would definitely put onto your show as, but I would not put it unless your personal order is going to throw you into a new sales level for the show. I wouldn't put it as a guest order. Does that make sense? I would just use it as a
Okay.
host order, because the difference is going to be that when you do the host order, you're going to have, of course, this month a 60% off item, right, of anything in the catalog. You're going to have half
Right.
price items to use. You're going to have your free amount to use. And then anything after there, depending where you're at in sales, is going to be anywhere from 20 to 30% off. Okay. But the beauty about that is when you do that extra, that 20 to 30% off, we actually do get paid commission on that amount too. So you end up
Okay.
saving more money because you're also making commission on that little amount there. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, like I was doing it sheerly by moving stuff from one to a hostess half.
Right.
Like, to see which way it came out cheaper. But any help in that situation would be beneficial because, it takes a long time to move stuff around.
Yeah, it's just really playing around with it. Most of the time I would say it's always going to be more beneficial though to just stick with adding things onto if you're doing your own personal show, to put it on the host order, because you're going to get more discounts that way.
Okay.
And then, like I said, unless you're like, the orders that you collected are like, I don't know, 580 something, right? And you have $15. Then it pays to add that little small order on there to kick it up to 600, because then you get more rewards as the host. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really just kind of playing around with it a little bit. But no, that's a really good question. So where are you at with that show? How's that going?
Good. I'm just moving things around. I'm trying to squirm up some more orders. Since I didn't get it in by the last of the month, I want to try to make it as big as I can by the end of the month. So, and they all know I'm just starting, so they ordered things that they didn't want right away.
Okay.
So
I would definitely,
I told them, I said,
I would definitely try to get it in as soon as you could, for a couple different reasons. Because number one, it's going to give you the option as you're talking to those people to book shows with them instead of just having them order. That way, whatever they are going to get, it could be free. Reason number two is because
Right.
we do any orders that are submitted from the 1st of the month to the 15th of the month, you're going to get paid commission-wise on the 21st. So we call that going green by 15. And so this month I
Okay.
started the little green by 15 club. Did everybody see that post?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
So the earlier you're green in the month, you're going to get put into this group. And actually, I'm getting ready to do the first drawing sometime this weekend. I'm not going to tell you when, but it's going to happen this weekend. So that gives you more chances until the 15th of winning those gifts that I'm giving away.
okay,
Okay. The other thing I want you to think about is, and really everyone in general, most of the time people expect to get their orders within 2 to 3 weeks from the time they place it. And so that's always going to be a big thing unless you are over communicating with them the fact that, hey, I'm not going to close this party out until, I don't know, September 20th, right? Most people have it in their heads, okay, I gave this chick the check like 2 weeks ago, and where's my stuff, right? I haven't even heard from this girl.
right,
And so that is something that our home office really wants us to kind of crack down on, because they do a lot of surveys for the customers after shows are submitted. They send a lot of surveys out to the customers to kind of see what their experience was like with the party. And so one of the biggest downfalls with parties is always the time it takes to get their order. And so that's something else that we really want to try to make sure, that we're kind of working towards. So I have some pretty general rule of thumbs with a cooking show. I like to try to close it up within 3 to 4 days after the party. With catalog shows, I normally leave them open 2 weeks. Virtual parties, I normally do the party for 7 days, and then I'm definitely closing it by day 10. So just some kind of general rules for you guys to follow. I mean, you guys can determine that for your own businesses. But I think that definitely, as long as you're communicating with them, or the host is communicating with her guests, that's really what makes the difference. Because sometimes they're not communicated to and they have no idea, right? And then they're like, what the heck? I gave someone my money, but I'm not getting anything back. The other thing you'll run into, and you'll find this a lot with virtual parties, as you let the party go and let the party go and let the party go, if there's not been a clear communication with the guests of when that party's going to close, how many of you guys have had declined credit cards? Yeah, and that's not very much fun. So, so over communicate. That's my solution to it. Tiffany, what are you laughing about? You're muted, darling.
Me and Brandy are having a private conversation.
Oh, you better stop it. All right. So what other questions or what other things can we like help you guys with as far as like what are other trainings that you need? What are things as a new consultant? Like if you were going to bring on a new consultant right now onto your team, what is something that you haven't had so far that would help you?
God, I'm not even thinking about that yet.
Sarah, you look so serious tonight.
Hi. I snuck on. I was being quiet.
That's okay.
I'm
So
fighting with my
everybody's
computer.
good. Everybody feels like they're getting what they need right now.
Becky, I do have a question. I just kind of got roped into doing a cooking party next month because actually one of Chris's buddies, he thinks he'll bring his friends over and get them all liquored up and then they'll write checks. So,
As long as it's not the 12th, 13th, or 14th.
yeah. So well, he's a big boater and he has a boat down in Jersey, so it won't be till after his boat's out of the water because that's like his #1 priority.
Awesome.
So I would like to be able to hopefully tag along with you to a cooking show just so I can see
Absolutely. All right. So Becky needs to post her schedule.
that.
And ladies, it is a ball to go with Becky. You will learn a lot. She makes it look so easy. She will have you wash your dishes.
Only you, Tiffany. Only you.
Oh, it's only me? Okay, great. You'll get to see how she interacts. And like I said, she just makes it look so easy. So anytime you guys want to go with her, just ask her. I mean, her schedule's open. She does have to check with the host first, but I haven't had anybody decline on Summit. And
Nope.
when I've been to probably, I don't know, the Littlestown crew, I don't know, 5 parties. And I mean, it's the same crew. And I'm just baffled at how much money they spend.
Every time.
Yeah, every time.
$1,200 show every single time.
You know, so, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, the experience that you get just seeing her work, and she makes mistakes. I mean, I think the first one that I went to, she dropped food on the floor, you know.
Oh,
so, I mean, you're only human, and it's like they say, we're pampered, not perfect. So,
Absolutely.
you know, if you guys have a chance, do it. Even if you're not going to jump into the cooking realm of it right now, go anyways, because then it'll still give you a feel of how to communicate with your guests online as well. Like those questions of, instead of just hitting the like button or saying, oh yeah, right, you know, you need more depth into the conversation than just like one word answers. Absolutely. Or not asking a question back.
Absolutely. Yeah. My schedule is open to you guys. Anytime you ever want to go to a show with me, I do not have a problem with anybody ever going to a show with me. It makes me work harder, you know, when I have my team there because, you know, I want to do the best job I can too. And I always try to do that, but it's a little bit different when you have somebody that's there that's trying to learn from you. And so I love having team members with me because it is the best way for me to train you if you're going to do a cooking show. If you want to get into cooking shows, going to a cooking show is the best way for me to train you on how to do a cooking show. Okay. Because you get to see a lot of different things. Like you get to see the host interaction when I get there, because I'm very deliberate about everything that I do in this business. You know, from the time the guests start walking into the door to the time that they leave, everything is very deliberate. I've done over 1,000 cooking shows in 7 years. So it's my jam. It's what I love. I would rather do a cooking show 20 times than one virtual party, but that's just me. I mean, I do virtual parties, but I would rather be all goofy and silly in front of a bunch of people than do virtual parties. I know it's terrible. Yeah, but no, I can post my schedule for you, Branda, and you just let me know. I mean, same thing applies with all of you guys. I do shows everywhere, so don't think just because, you know, you don't live close to me that I'm not going to be up your way, because I promise you I get around.
My schedule's a little more open now, so I should be good.
Hey,
So that
Becky.
was a question for me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Tiffany.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, like, I see Pampered Chef consultants and things like set up at fair, like you were set up at Shippensburg Fair.
Uh-huh.
How do you build that stockpile of things on hand to sell like that?
Okay. So I will not encourage you guys to buy cash and carry. Okay. For a couple different reasons. Mine has come over time with being a director. I get 2 sets of the products every time we change catalog. Okay. And so for me, it's a way to get rid of it. When I was first starting out though, when I went from losing my job to really trying to go full force into my business, vendor shows were a way to grow my contacts, because I don't have family local to me. You know, I only had my husband's mom. All of my other family is out of state. And so I really needed a way to branch out, because the only circle of friends I had at that time were through the employer that I had, right? And none of them, I was like Black Plague when I got terminated from my job. And so nobody wanted to interact or deal with me at all. And so I had to figure out a way to make contacts, and vendor shows were how I did it. So I made a personal decision when I started doing that. I did invest in cash and carry, but it's not something, unless you're looking at doing this business full time. Okay. If you're looking to just do it part time, I will not encourage you to spend a lot of money. Okay. If you're looking at making this a full-time gig and you really want to get your name out there, I took $200. I invested in cash and carry, and that's all I did for about, you know, the first year and a half. Is I just turned that cash and carry over and over again. I never put another penny into it. I only spent $200, but I made my money back all the time. The thing about vendor shows is this, okay? I have a whole sheet of the do's and the don'ts for you guys, okay? Because that year, I literally was doing 15 to 20 vendor shows a month, because I was really trying to grow my business fast. You have to be selective on the vendor shows you're going to do. Okay, don't just take $20 and spend it on a vendor show because you're getting to set up somewhere. You want to make sure that that vendor show actually has a plan for advertising. Okay. I learned the hard way not to really do a lot of the first year events because they don't have the money to pay for advertising for them. My biggest 2 things that I will tell you about vendor shows is, number 1, you cannot sit there and not make eye contact and not interact with customers. Okay. Cause they're not going to beat your door down. They're not going to be like, hey, Pampered Chef lady, you know, pay attention to me. They're not going to do it. They'll keep on walking by. And my other second biggest thing is, if you're going to spend the $20, $30, whatever on that vendor show, you have to follow up with those people within the first 24 hours. The reason is this. How many of you guys have ever gone to a craft fair or vendor show? Most of us have, right?
I've done lots of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's typically what, you know, anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 vendors at, you know, some of these shows. Well, guess what? If they're indirect sales, you are all there for the same reason. You are all there to make contacts. You are all there to book shows. You are all there to find recruit leads. You are all there to make sales. So if you wait a week to call people, guess what's already happened in that week?
Somebody else
Somebody else is calling them.
Somebody else has already gotten them.
So if you are very intentional and within that first 24-hour window make phone calls, you will get results. If you wait past that 24 hours, I would let it go 48. That's it. If you wait past that 48-hour mark, though, you might as well just rip those lead slips up and throw them away. And you just wasted your money. Who just joined us? Who's on the phone with us?
Gail.
Hi, Gail.
Hi.
How are you?
Pretty good. I had trouble getting in, but I'm here now. So.
Oh, no. Are you going to hop on your computer, or are you just going to stay on the phone with us?
No, I have to stay on the phone. I'm at work, so I can't use the work computer.
Ah, gotcha. So those would be my biggest tips, though, for you, Brandy, about vendor shows. But I do have a whole sheet of do's and don'ts, okay, that I can also post on the team page.
All right, Becky, I have a question for you. Oh, shut up. I haven't had this happen to me, but we've read it on the Pampered Chef groups and blah, blah, blah. And with you having so many recruits under your belt, how do you handle somebody that's a kidnapper?
Charge my phone. Do you have another one?
2 words. Are you ready for it? Bless, release. You bless them and you release them. I have found, okay, so I have recruited 100 and I think I'm like right at 170 recruits in 7 years. Okay.
Wow.
And I will tell you this, some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? Okay. That's what I want you to think about, because some people will work. Some people won't work, right? You can't make people do what we want them to do. People have to want this business more than we want it for them. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. Sometimes, because think about it, we do offer a pretty amazing new consulting kit. When you think about 75% off of those tools, they're getting a heck of a deal. And so what I find is that if you establish it early on, what they're in it for, okay, so I just welcomed a new team member 2 weeks ago. She signed up. I hadn't talked to her in 3 years. I added her to the team page. I welcomed her, blah, blah, blah. I've messaged her. Nothing. I messaged her again. Nothing. I messaged her again, and she's like, I'm just doing this for a discount. And I'm like, perfect. I love knowing ahead of time what people are in this for, right? And that's all I'm trying to establish with every single person. Are you in it for a discount? Are you just in it for those products? You can't do anything about it, guys. There's nothing we can do about it. That's the way Pampered Chef has it set up, unfortunately. It used to be you had to commit to do 4 shows when you first became a consultant. When I first became a consultant, I had to commit to do 4 shows within my first 90 days, or I had to pay back a portion of the kit. And sometimes I wish it were that way still, because it would eliminate that problem. But you can't do anything about it. So we just give the benefit of the doubt to everyone that starts, right? We try to provide as much training as we can. That's why I do what I do. I try to offer you guys as much time as I can give to you, because hopefully, the numbers will be there for us. Maybe if we recruit 10 people, we'll have 1 or 2 kidnappers out of that 10. And that's probably about right, So the thing I want you to know, though, is not you. There's nothing about you that has attracted this kidnapper to you. Unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast, and it doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It doesn't mean that you should never recruit again, because if I think about it, I'm like, if I would have stopped when I had my first 25 kidnappers, I could not be in a position where I am today. You just can't.
You wouldn't have us.
What's that?
And you wouldn't have us.
Exactly. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. But really, because we have one bad experience, it's just like a cooking show. If you have one bad experience, Tiffany, that doesn't mean you don't ever do a cooking show again, right?
Not for a couple years.
Tiffany, did you burn something?
No, my
That's a
first
long
one
story.
was a disaster. I turned it into a virtual party, though.
So I want you to think about this, though. Because one person, you have a bad experience with one person as a recruit, doesn't mean we stop offering the business to other people, right? Because everybody deserves this chance and this opportunity just like you have. And so, yeah, you're going to run across people that take the kit and run. And we just say bless and release. Peace
And
out.
they still have, I mean, whenever you sign up, if you don't submit a show or whatever, you still have 6 months
And I encourage
of being
people-
a consultant.
Yep.
And, you know, I guess you could check in like every month or like on the 3rd month, check in. And then the 6th month, just be like, hey, you know, are you still in this? Because right now they might have been excited about the kit, but it's not fitting their schedule right now. And maybe in a month they'll be like, hey, I want to do this. You know,
the other thing I want you to think about is life happens, right? Life happens, both positive and negative. Sometimes you go into this thinking, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm going to be a Pampered Chef consultant. I'm going to have an amazing show schedule. I'm going to do a good job. I'm going to make all this money. And then bam, a brick wall. You run right into it, right? The brakes apply. You have no time for Pampered Chef and the world just stops with Pampered Chef. And that's okay. Sometimes you go into Pampered Chef thinking, oh, I'm just going to do a little bit here and a little bit there, right? And we're all excited for you because the beauty about it is that you can do what you want with it. And then sometimes life happens and you're like, oh my God, I need more. I need more. I need my business pumped up. And you can do that too. So you can go from one extreme to the other and then backwards again. You know, when I first started this, I did not think, I'll be honest with you guys, I did not think I would be doing this here 7 years later. I did not think that I would be a Pampered Chef consultant for the rest of my life because I didn't need the money. You know what I mean? That wasn't why I started in the beginning. But then I lost my job and I had no choice. So life changes for all of us. Our goals will fluctuate. You know, sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less. And I find that most of the time, if you really talk to those people that are kidnappers, I don't really think truly anybody starts this with the idea of not doing it, right? I think sometimes life happens to people and they're too embarrassed about a situation or they don't want to talk about it. And so sometimes that's the case. Sometimes you do just run into people that just want to quit. I mean, it's just going to happen. But I think that if we're honest with people, then people will be honest with us. You know, I think that the more we communicate about everything in our business, the more you communicate, the better off you are. But I still check in with my kidnappers, even though I know that they don't want anything to do with Pampered Chef. As a leader, it's still my job to make sure that they know that the opportunity is still there for them. And so what I do is Pampered Chef, when you start growing a team, they send us reminders. So when somebody has been 1 month inactive or 3 months inactive or 6 months inactive, they send us a reminder. And so when I get those reminders, I send a reminder out to them so that they know, you know, just so they don't feel like they could never turn back. Because sometimes that happens too. People don't realize that the opportunity is still there for them to start over. You know, they can still start even though they haven't started. And so sometimes they just need to hear it from us. That's a good question, Tiffany. What else? What else? What other questions?
I have a question about like items for like a donation to an event. So what do you recommend? Like, so for example, my aunt's having an event. She asked me to donate something from Pampered Chef. I have something that I don't use and that I've never used, so I'm going to donate. But what else would you include, like with the product?
It really just depends. It depends on your heart, I think. I'm pretty generous because I want to get rid of my crap that's sitting around.
It is not crap.
I'm always very generous. You can ask anyone I've ever donated to. They're like, you're giving me this much. I'm like, yep, take it. Here you go. Because remember, it's a tax write-off also when you make a donation. That's a tax write-off. So you can, you know, even though you got it, you can write that amount off. So if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of cash and carry, I would do a gift certificate, right? Because we can make up a gift certificate. You can give a gift certificate away to people. And the only time you're really out of the money is when they actually redeem the gift certificate. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what I found in the last 7 years is I've probably given out, I don't know, 100 or so gift certificates, and I've had 3 redeemed in 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So
How much money were they?
normally 20 to 25 bucks, somewhere around there.
What?
Yeah, I know. Crazy. So that's an option, Sarah. If you're going to give a product away, again, it depends on your heart, right? Of what you want to give away, but you always want to make sure you give a catalog, some recruiting information in there, a business card if you have business cards, any of that information that comes back to you. Okay, so that way it's personalized to you. Another great question. I love questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you guys tell I've had 5 cups of coffee? I mean, Branda, you talked with me earlier and I still wasn't this wired. I'll probably be working in my office till like 2 o'clock in the morning. I know, Brooke, what was that face? Brooke's like, what? Yeah, I know. I'm psycho.
Like
Alright,
early
so-
20s, I could pull that off. Not anymore.
So do you guys have any questions about virtual parties? Because, okay, so let me just state this. I have 3 parties, and it's all going to vary on your host coaching and the guest in the party. And you can't control either one of those. But the host coaching on the virtual outline that Becky has provided us, Becky had given me the idea that she got from Claudia's team, right? And I put all my hosts, which are 3 of them, in a group message. And I tell them, it's for me to give them coaching all together so I don't miss anybody. Instead of sending 3 different messages, I'm sending 1. And the host coaching that she has provided with the words and the pictures, I will put the words, like I'll say good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day I'm at, and I'll state, your parties are going great, you guys have a lot of interaction, blah, 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 whatever the case may be, and I'll say, and here's your post for the day. Please post the following words and copy and paste this picture. They've been doing it, and just because in a virtual party, since they're friends with everybody in the party, everybody sees that post. Where when we post in their parties, their default group setting is to highlights unless they physically change that themselves. So they might catch 1 or 2 posts ever so often or whatever, unless they've changed it. But if the host posts stuff on their personal group, everybody will see that. Kind of like when we changed the banner. That's why Becky has suggested changing the banner, because once you do that or change the name of the group, like stating that it's closing in a couple days or whatever, everybody in that group gets that notification. So that's why it's important that you change the banner in the beginning of the day and host coach your group or your host to doing those posts, because they will see it. I've had more interaction with this outline than I have had with any other outlines. Becky has been getting, she's becoming more of an expert.
Even though I hate virtual parties.
But her outlines, if you follow them and make that, use the wording, but put a little bit of your flair, like Brandy says. Just put that little bit of yourself in there as well. If you want to add a sentence or 2, add the host's name in the message as well. Or if it's a product that you use on a daily, put in there what you do, how you use it. It's building that trust with the customers underneath it. And like Becky says, it's not so much about the post, it's the conversation underneath, but you still need to grab that trust from the guest and build that conversation up. So what are you guys thinking about the outline are you guys using the new outline?
I'm gonna give a shout out to Sarah, because Sarah, the girl that was like, I suck at virtual parties, blah, 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 blah. And Sarah's party is just getting ready to qualify. So
It did qualify. She has $450 in orders.
what? Yes.
Well, it's also a catalog party, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the orders are from her having catalogs, but I think 4 or 5 of the people that ordered were also on the party.
Awesome.
So they were kind of getting the best of both worlds.
Yep.
I haven't done the drawing for the gift yet.
I would do that at the end just in case you get more orders.
Yeah.
It finished today. My last post was an hour ago. So I think I'm gonna hop on tomorrow and do a winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I booked another one today, so
Sarah, would you agree that Victoria, once you got her to start commenting, the party changed?
yeah, I feel like her post specifically had the most interest. So she was commenting on stuff originally, and then I started sending her the pictures and that kind of stuff to comment, and then a lot of people got involved. And it's kind of annoying because you're I'm putting all this work in, and they don't even comment on my shit. They comment on her shit. That's their friend. But it's kind of nice though, because if they're commenting the little videos or whatever, you can reply to those. So you still kind of get that interaction even if they're not commenting on your post specifically.
Absolutely.
So,
yep.
You have to remember, the guests are going to trust their host.
Absolutely.
Because they're friends with them. Not that we're not telling them the truth or the best practices with these products, how they can benefit them. If the host has it or posts it, they're going to trust their host more than they're going to trust us.
Absolutely.
But we still need to, try to get that communication going with the guest as well. And like you said, Sarah, I understand. It is annoying because you feel like you're doing all this work. But if they're commenting under her post, it's still a win-win because you get to still comment underneath them and still reply to anything that they might have a question about.
Yeah, and so this outline, I've really tried to make it more engaging with every single post versus just having 1 or 2 engagement posts throughout the day. I really tried to focus on the graphics that I was using, making them more, more engaging just even through the graphics, not necessarily the words. So hopefully you guys are seeing that there's a lot of little hidden innuendos in there, with booking shows and placing your order and that kind of thing. Because I think it's making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I would say too that if someone I really had a bad first experience with virtual parties, and it was with my poor mother, and she was very patient with me, but it sucked and nobody ordered, and I was so frustrated and didn't want to get back into virtuals. But at this point, I wasn't in a position to turn down bookings, so I took it. But I would honestly say that if you're nervous about doing virtual, a good way to kind of give yourself a crutch is to encourage a catalog as well. So
Absolutely.
My host right now has catalogs at work, and that's the majority of her orders is coming from these catalogs, but it's a nice kind of crutch so that you're not fully relying on the virtual party to come through. It's a nice way to kind of ease into
Absolutely.
the virtual world, but still kind of be comfortable in what you might be used to.
And that is why host coaching times about 100 is so important. Okay. So just like a cooking show, a virtual party is no different. That relationship and that connection with your host is really where the party either sinks or swims. Okay. Because if you connect with your host, they're going to bend over backwards to make sure that you and them are both taken care of. Okay. And so that's why, yes, Tiffany is too funny, and she does these hour conversations with her host that ain't nobody got time for that in my world. I hate the phone. I am one of those people, but it works for her, right? It works for her. She has found that that's what works for her. Bye, Brooke.
Bye, guys.
Don't go.
Yeah, I'll have the recording up later,
Okay, thanks.
especially if I'm up till 2:00 in the morning.
Oh, girl, I might catch you tomorrow.
See you, girl.
Bye.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's been Tiffany's jam from the beginning, is that relationship that she's building with those hosts. You never want to do any kind of party and not have catalogs in their hands, okay? Because you can. If the virtual party is not working, you have something to fall back on, okay? You have to have an option, a plan B. You have to have a plan B with every single show. Look, I have it happen with cooking shows too, right? I don't know how many cooking shows I've done in 7 years. My host tells me there's going to be 10 people there. I walk in the door and there might be 2, okay? I can't let that be the end of the party, right? I still have to make sure that I'm going to have a qualifying show, and hopefully it's going to be way more than a qualifying show. But I have to have a plan in place, both from the beginning and then after the party, if it's not worked out, of how I'm going to react to it.
I literally just had that happen. Like, I had a party scheduled an hour and a half away from my house. She was like, there's going to be 10 people there. I was so excited, and I get there, and literally not a soul was there. And so she had catalogs. She had catalogs at work. She has not submitted her party yet, and I'm very frustrated, but that's a whole other thing. But she is, like, still getting orders, so, like, it wasn't a complete waste because I took the time to send her catalogs.
Absolutely. It's one of the most important things. You guys have to think about it. Our catalogs are the biggest advertiser for you, okay? It is, most people, I would say, I don't know, it's probably a 50-50 split. Most people prefer, I have found, to have a catalog in their hands to flip through. Some people are okay with the digital, link. And then some people just go to the website because they already know what they want to order, But if you can put catalogs in people's hands and they have the ability to actually flip through them, most of the time the order is going to increase because they actually are able to flip through the catalog. So, catalogs are a must. Catalogs and host coaching, it just, there's no show. You literally make all of your money from any kind of party in this business from that relationship with your host and the host coaching that you do. Your party is where you pick up your paycheck, but all of the money is made in host coaching.
Well, and I think especially, like I found with when I took orders for my party, the older people that I work with, they all wanted something physical. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like they're not computer people.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a generational thing. If you really break it down by a generational, mindset, most people that are 40 and above, they do prefer to flip through a catalog. Most people 40 and above are not digital. Most people 40 and above are not techie, Now
I'm 23 and enjoy a good catalog.
But that's why I'm 39. I'm 39 and I'm on the brink. I don't like the phone, but I love technology.
I'm 45 or gonna be 45 and I like the phone.
So you just have to find out, from the host really what best suits their crowd of people, and that's why it's important, that once you book that show, really taking the time to talk to them before the party starts, whether it's the phone or it's text messaging or it's Marco Polo or whatever you want to do. Having some kind of back and forth conversation with someone is really important so that you can set the expectation with them for the party. I think the other thing that's important to remember is that a lot of people do not look at Pampered Chef or any direct sale company as our job. They look at this as just something that they do. This is just something Becky does, right? This is just something Becky does to get out of the house. No. I pay my bills with this. Okay, so this is my job. This is how I provide an income for my family. You will get the best results from your business, all of you, when you treat your business like a business, not a hobby. Okay. So if you're going to do one show a month, girlfriends, I am all about doing one show a month, and I will be your biggest cheerleader. You guys know that. But I want you to make that one show a month the best darn one show a month that you can do. So what other questions?
So have you guys, with the virtual parties, I know some people when they're in the group, they start to complain about all of the posts all day, but it's really only like 5 or 6 posts a day.
Right.
But my friend that hosted a party last month, she's real big. Like, she doesn't like, she'll leave a group, but I mean, she obviously couldn't leave because it was her party. But I told her and my person that hosted my first party, like, there'll be 6 or 7 posts a day, but you try to spread them out throughout the day so they're not so many all in one chunk. Is there something that you guys would recommend saying to the hosts, like, exactly just to make them feel a little better or understand more that there's going to be multiple posts a day?
Again, it goes back to the host coaching. That's definitely a part of that conversation that you have with them. My biggest thing is that, you know, we are the experts, okay? We have to treat ourselves as the experts, no matter what kind of party that we're doing. And so the biggest line that I want you guys to take away is this, okay? 3 words. You ready for them? In my experience. In my experience. Because when you tell someone, so Branda, in my experience, it comes across differently to them for them to understand that you're the expert in this. Okay? So they kind of buy into it a little bit more when you say, in my experience, you know, blah, 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 blah. So I would say, in my experience of doing, you know, shows for the last 7 years, this is what I found. Most people are okay with 5 to 7 posts a day. And actually, Pampered Chef has been sending surveys out to customers. And this is legit, though, guys. I'm telling you legit information. Like I told you earlier, that they send surveys out to all of our hosts and our customers after the parties. They have found with that, and that's why they've been able to put together all these virtual party resources, that anything over 7 posts is too excessive. Okay, that's what customers considered it. So that's why we try to walk that fine line of 5 to 7 in our party, depending on the day. So when I start out, there's less posts. Have you guys noticed that? There's normally 5. And then I build up so that it is 7. But I do think what's important for you guys to think about is this. It's timing. Timing is everything on social media. If you are somebody that wakes up early in the morning, okay, let's say you're a really early bird and you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you're like, oh, I should post in my virtual party. Do you think other people are awake in their virtual party? Probably not. So we have to be very, very cautious of when people are going to actually be awake and participating or available or participating. Because again, remember, you're working in crowds of people that most people are working throughout the day. And so I would recommend that you would post first thing in the morning, like 8 to 9 o'clock, okay? And then I normally let it go until about 11 or 12. So most people are at lunch at that point, right? Most people are going to check their social media then. And then for the most part, after that, I start my posts from 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Okay, 5 to 7 are peak hours on Facebook. 5 to 7 o'clock. That's when most people are on Facebook. So that's why it's really important to plant those engagement posts right around that time. And so that's the way I've written the outline. And that's why when Tiffany tells you guys that the outlines work, if you follow those kind of time frames, they're going to work for you, because I've really been strategic in the engagement and where the timing that it falls throughout the day, basically. Okay. But I don't think, there's people, and I don't know how and why they do it. They post 20 times a day in a party, and I'm like, I would leave. I legit would be gone because it's too much. So we've chosen to listen to the customers, and they said 7, and the absolute max is 9. Okay. That's something that we learned at conference. It's something that they've been talking about for the last year. So I choose to do, when I do the outlines, it's anywhere from 5 to 7 posts. But I definitely think you have to kind of let your host know what to expect, because sometimes if they've never been to a virtual party, it's kind of like, oh my God. Now, if there's somebody that's been to a lot of virtual parties, then they understand that that's how the course of a day is going to run. But if there's someone that's never been to a virtual party, it's kind of like, holy crap, what is wrong with this consultant? So if you give them that expectation, then they can expect it. It's different.
Well, and I think too, every time somebody answers, like I had a lot of people leave if they were at work, because every time somebody replied, it dinged too. You know what I mean? Like if you're not, our job's real sticklers on cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't want anybody to lose their job over it either. I tell them, put it on mute.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, that you can't control. I mean, at my work, we can't have our cell phones on the floor. So
yeah.
we pull them out at our breaks or whatever. So if those people have an issue with it, then they shouldn't be having their cell phones.
Yep.
So you can't control that.
So I want you guys to think about it too, though, that there's different styles of virtual parties. Okay, so maybe one doesn't work for your host, and that's, again, goes back to why the conversation with your host are so important. So maybe a posting virtual party, the style that I write the outline around, is not her preferred method of virtual party, okay? So maybe you offer options to that person if they still are like, oh, this is way too much. So another option would be you still create the group. You do, I normally do 2 days of posting, but I kind of scale it back a little bit. And then I do a live demo on the 3rd day. And then I do 2 more days of posting to close it up. And then I close the show. So I like to give options to my people, especially if there's somebody that's never done a virtual party with me before, because I want them to get the best experience. Just like I want them to have the best cooking show, I want them to have the best virtual party experience. And then there's even another style where you do a 1-hour virtual party. Has anyone ever heard of that one? I know, look at Brandy. So that was how I first started virtual parties. When we first started doing virtual parties 6 years ago, we all did 1-hour virtual parties. And so it was basically a couple days of posting, the day before. And it was, you scheduled an hour that your host and the guests would be on the event or group. And then it's an hour of posting. Every 3 to 5 minutes you're posting in that hour. And then again, you have 2 more days where, you're closing the show up. So there's lots of styles of virtual party. I think Pampered Chef is really just trying to get us to understand what the level of expectation is from our customers, though. They don't want the virtual party to go any longer than 7 days. 10 days max, okay? But that's a whole nother conversation, right, Tiff?
Yep.
Because we all have our own style of party. But the difference is most people don't communicate it. Tiffany communicates how long her parties are going to run. So if her host expects it, her host can then communicate it to the guests, and it's not an issue with them. But it's when we do a party for like 2 weeks and we haven't communicated to the guests and they're like, where the heck is my stuff at? I placed my order 2 weeks ago because they were the first one to place the order and they still haven't got their stuff. So it's all about setting, that conversation with the host and the host coaching. So, if one style doesn't suit you, you can always try another, because there's lots of different styles of virtual parties.
So question linking off of that, like with a virtual party, could we do like 2 days of posting and then do like a live cooking show?
That's what I do. I do those all the time. Yep. It's just a conversation with your host to see what they want. When I talk to, I have normally 3 or 4 hosts every year that do parties for me. When I do their virtual parties, that's how I do them. They do the 2 days, we do a cooking show, and then we do the 2 days. So it's just a conversation. It really depends on you and how you want to operate, because think about it, you've got to give up You know, you've got to have the ingredients. You're the one that's got to come out of your pocket for the, you know, the ingredients for the recipe. You're the one that's got to have a you know, clean kitchen and, you know, quiet house to be able to do it. So it really is about what you want to do with it, not so much what I want you to do with it. You know, you find the style that works for you. There's lots of consultants that do the cooking show. That's the only way that they do their Facebook parties is, you know, the live cooking demo. And they work great. If you can get the people on there with you and keep them captivated, that's the part. Okay. That's the part that's hard because you can't do a really, really long demo. It can't be like, you know, I'm going on here to make breakfast, lunch, and dessert. You know, they say the average length of time people typically will watch a live video is 12 minutes. After 12 minutes, they're done. They're checking out. They just get
the donuts would be a good one.
Exactly. Something quick and easy, something fast. I've got lots of really great, you know, dessert recipes in the Rock Crock that take 8 minutes. So they're typically perfect recipes because, again, you want to show power tools because power tools are going to give you bookings. You don't want to just show a brownie pan or something simple like that. People will buy that, but they will not book a show for it. So you still want to show high quality power tools, but you need to be aware of that time frame. You know, so a virtual party, I try to run my demo no longer than 20 to 25 minutes with the expectation and understanding that most people are going to start checking out about 12 to 15 minutes in. So I try to make sure the very front of the show is like super impactful, you know, because everybody's there and engaged, and then I can kind of wind it down. But yeah, they can be great. They can definitely be great. Because again, it's personality. You know, you can't write in personality into a post. You know, yes, you can capitalize and put emojis and hearts and whatever, but people want to see us. They want to actually see us. They want to see the food that we're cooking. Too bad they can't taste it. So that's why that they're an attractive way to do a virtual party. If you're kind of scared about the posting, you know, it's a great option for someone that's kind of freaked out about technology. Or if you're like me and just like to show off in your kitchen.
I'm just going to do a virtual party hosted at your house and go live from your house.
Come on over, sister. You know where I live. You can come to my house anytime you want.
She's also very good at trying to sell her own consultants' products.
Right?
What'd she try to sell you?
No, they just
nothing. She just had a cooking party and tried to sell us Pampered Chef stuff.
Oh, okay. Did it work?
Tiffany knows. How many products have you bought because you went to a show with me?
No, she's talking to.
How many? Well, I had to get the rice cooker because you did broccoli in it, and I was sold on that. I had to get the double burner grill pan. What else? Oh, the Scoop and Loop. Even though that's like a $5 product.
I can sell you tools. I can. It's, you know, and that's why Tiffany recommends you guys go to a cooking show with me. Because look, if you only came to a recipe night at my house, right, and I'm selling you products, imagine you come into a cooking show with me.
Or you're actually trying to sell products.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you'll find that the reason I sell products is not because I am trying to sell products. It's because I'm offering people a solution for their kitchen, you know, because every product I talk about and focus on, remember we talked at Recipe Night the other day about the difference between features and benefits? I am all in their face about the benefits of putting that stuff in their kitchen.
I mean, you sold me on the quick cooker.
Yeah.
Now I got to sell Joe when he gets home.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, you know, there's a reason why the first show I did with the quick cooker, I booked 5 parties from it. There's a reason. You know? There's a reason why that weekend I booked 9 cooking shows. And it's because you sell the benefits of the product. And it's a little bit harder to do it with a virtual party, you know, to really communicate all of the benefits of the products. And that's why, that's why it's really important to get that conversation underneath the post started so that you can really communicate with them why they need it, what the benefit is going to be to them. All right, so one more question for you guys. How many of you guys got a little book like this in your new consultant kit? It might not look exactly like this, but it's called My Recipe for Success.
I actually ordered a new one.
I did.
Okay. So if you guys have not, as a new consultant, flipped through this book, okay, this is kind of like your game plan for your business. There are tons and tons and tons of tips in here for you guys. One of the things that I love is in the new book, it's on page 8. It's called the New Consultant Action Plan. So if you're watching this recording and you're brand new, what I'm going to challenge you guys to do, because we're going to end this thing here in a second, but what I'm going to challenge you guys to do, and if you don't have this book and you need me to post this picture of what it looks like, I can post this. But what I'm going to challenge you guys to do is fill this out. I want to see what your new consultant action plan looks like. Okay? And for everybody that fills it out and posts it by Sunday night at 10 o'clock, you're going to be entered into a drawing for a product. How about that? Because I like free stuff.
Can you post that, Becky? Because I don't think I got one of them.
Yep. I will post. All right, who all do we have on our call tonight? We've got Branda and Brandy and Gail and Beth, which I still haven't heard from. Are you there, Beth? Are you ghosting me? Rochelle, Tiffany.
I'm here.
Hi, Sunshine. I thought you were ghosting me there for a second.
No, I've been multitasking and been listening and all that fun stuff.
Ah, a mother's job is never done.
Sounds like the babies are still up.
Yes. She's been screaming herself to sleep for the past week.
Aww.
All right, so who am I missing? We had Brandy and Branda, Gail, Beth, Rochelle, Tiffany, Sarah.
Brooke.
Brooke. That's who I'm missing. Okay. All right, so that's the challenge. Sunday at 10 o'clock, post them on our team page so we can all see your little consultant action plan. So again, it's in the new consultant book. And why do I want you guys to do this? Does anybody know why?
It gives us goals and sets expectations.
Woo! And I don't want you to feel like it's got to be this big, outrageous goal, okay? Because goals are very personal. Your goal is going to be different than my goal, which is going to be different than Tiffany's goal, which is going to be different than Sarah's goal. We should all have different goals. We should all be striving for something different. So I don't want you to feel like just because you're going to write, I want to do one cooking show on here, that you're any less of a consultant than anybody else on our team, okay? Because this is what you want from your business, not what I want from your business. So the other reason I want to see this is because this lets me as your leader and Tiffany as your leader and Sarah as your leader and Beth as your leader know how we can help you. So if we see that you've written your goals out and you're not quite reaching them, then we know that we have, some room to help you, right? We have to know it, because if it's not communicated to us, then we're expecting that you're getting everything from your business that you want. And so that's why I really want to know what your goals are. Big or small, I want to know, okay? So I will post this on the team page. So print it out, do it, just do it. I'm not going to say the company's name, do it, just do it. Post it on the team page by Sunday at 10 o'clock, and then I will do a drawing on Monday, okay? Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I'm not in that contest.
No, you're not in that contest. Because I can abuse her with her goals.
So I have a question aside from new consultant stuff. What's going on with TIF's director team?
Tiffany promoting to a director?
Yeah.
All right, let me stop the recording. Hold on 1 second.